Hey guys, it's Jane. It's Thursday today, not Friday, but it is the 1st of February, so I'm going to do my Friday reads. At the end of this video, I'm going to draw my giveaway for something fishy, so that's something to look forward to, and hold on to the end. I need to tell you that even though I haven't been reading science fiction and fantasy keeps moving along, and the BookTube SFF Awards are upon us again. Nominations close this Sunday. So if you've been thinking about nominating, or if you've been planning to nominate, or you've been tossing up to nominate, you've got just a couple more days to get your nominations in. Even if you only want to nominate in one category or even just one work, I'd encourage everybody who's read something from 2017 in a speculative fiction field to put their suggestions in. The bigger the pool that we get, the better. So yay, please do. I'll put the link to where you can put your nominations in the description below. All right, I read a few things this week. It's been a pretty full-on week on the family front, but thank you Jesus, the kids are now back at school, so I've got a little bit more mental capacity for dealing with certain things. But yes, so I've read a few things, and let me tell you about them. The first thing that I finished this week was The Anatomist's Apprentice by Tessa Harris. This is an historic mystery set in the in and around London. I think it's the 18th century. The main character is a surgeon and a sort of a pioneer forensic scientist. So he is just going along doing what he does, which is basically teaching other people anatomy lessons by cutting up cadavers. But yeah, he is approached by a woman whose brother has just died in mysterious circumstances, and she wants the truth about what happened to her brother. He was not a pleasant man and had many enemies, and her husband is kind of a prime suspect in his murder. She is not actually, she doesn't really know one way or another about whether or not it was her husband, but she finally just wants to know the truth. So our dashing hero does his best to get in there and examine the corpse, which is not been refrigerated and is now about 10 days old, and that is quite a graphic scene, but then tries to get to the bottom of what's happened, and it's in the very, very early days of forensic science, and yeah, there's lots of like little historic details. The actual mystery was really quite intriguing. There's a number of sort of red herrings along the way, but they feel like things that might actually have happened, not just put there for the plot. So, the obvious type of poisoning, he discovers that poison wasn't present, but there clearly was poison. So what poison is it? And there aren't, all the tests and things aren't really established at that point. So yeah, it was an interesting story, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So if you're a fan of historic mysteries, that's one that I would suggest you might want to have a look at. After that, I picked up The Undateable by Sara, which is another of the Librarians in Love. In fact, it was the first one, because I enjoyed, what was the other one called? Falling into Trouble. I enjoyed Falling into Trouble so much that I thought I'd give another one a whirl, and I also enjoyed this. This has got a completely ridiculous premise, but it allows for, some really nice set pieces. So there's a librarian, and a thing happens which makes her, internet famous very briefly, for being kind of, disapproving. She's a young woman, and there's this lifestyle magazine who decides to kind of latch onto her and try and do an extended feature on her, which involves setting up dates. for her. And so it's 30 dates in 30 days. And so we don't hear every single one of these 30 dates, but there are so many funny stories that I imagine Sarah Tidal, lived through or had friends live through versions of, and all taken to the nth degree. And yes, just this succession of terrible, terrible dates, which was really very amusing. And at the same time, there is this budding romance, this unspoken budding romance between her and the journalist dude who is setting her up on these dates. So yes, that was very enjoyable. Nothing world shaking, but enjoyable. After that, I read another follow-up from a book that I enjoyed earlier in the month. I read another one of the Readaholics cozy mysteries. So this was the second one, which was the Readaholics and the Poirot puzzle. And this one, the book club is reading A Murder on the Orient Express, which, for those of you who don't know, spoiler alert, is a bit of a conspiracy story. There's like a conspiracy to murder. It's not just a single kind of murderer. And that thematic element is kind of hashed over in the in-world real mystery that happens during the book club's reading of this book, which is that the brother of one of our main characters is opening a business, and at the grand opening plaza, his business partner turns up dead in the dumpster out the back of the kitchen. And then he, the brother of our heroine, is arrested for the murder. And so obviously she has to go and investigate. So yeah, that was again really enjoyable in a kind of well-plotted, well-paced. Also, there was an interesting kind of, baby steps version of intertextuality with the themes out of Orient Express being washed over into this other mystery. I thought that was actually quite well done. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. The next book that I picked up, I did not enjoy so much. It was my first DNF for the year. Plaid and Plagairism by Molly MacRae. It's the first in a new series. I think it's called the Highland Bookshop Mystery Series or whatever. I got about halfway through, and I decided that I wasn't enjoying it enough to keep going. There's four protagonists, which is too many, I think. And like they're a group, and there's two younger, two older, and I just couldn't keep it straight who was who. And then I was thinking, but what does it matter? And one's supposed to be an ex-social worker, and one's an ex-librarian, and one's a ex-corporate lawyer, and one's a ex-journalist. Did I say journalist already? Anyway, so whatever it is, there's four of these things, but it's like I just couldn't keep it straight. And that was, I thought, once I've read, half the book, if I can't keep the main cast straight, yeah, there's something either's wrong with the book, wrong with me, or wrong with the intersection of the both. So I gave that one away. Since then, I finished a short story which I really enjoyed, Max Gladstone's The Angelus Gate. So it was my breaking the back of getting back into science fiction and fantasy. I really enjoyed it. I love Max Gladstone's writing. I think he has a real gift with words, and this was a piece about family and war, and the main characters are angels. So yay, there's that. So yes, I am, it's February, I'm back on the science fiction fantasy train. I've got a couple of books that I really need to get to before the nominations close, especially in the middle grade section, because I said that I was going to read some before the nominations close, and I'm hopeful that I'm going to get that done. But that is basically what I'm up for. I have got so many books in my list. I normally try and keep my TBR to about 6, as in 6 books that I have borrowed or bought that are waiting to be read. I know some people have hundreds, but 6, anything more than 6 kind of starts getting me flustered. But I currently have more than 6 because during the month that I wasn't reading science fiction, I kept saying, oh, now that one's good. I should get that one, just have it for February. And now I haven't counted, but yeah, it's looking like a dozen or something at the moment, and that's kind of making me feel a bit anxious, but that's okay. I'm sure I will work through that. I'm sure it'll all be fine. So I'm going to say that's it for the moment, but I will draw my giveaway. Thanks for everybody who entered. I was really encouraged. I was thinking, it would be really embarrassing if nobody entered. If nobody entered, I would have to make up another YouTube account so I could leave a comment for myself to enter, because otherwise that'd be too embarrassing. But then somebody entered, and I was very excited about that. And then 2 people entered, and I thought, then I can actually have a draw. And in the end, I had a quite decent number of entries, and I was very pleased. So here we go. With no further ado, let's pick a winner. Picking a winner. Who have I chosen? It is Dawn. Dawn, you are my winner. So Dawn, if you could get in touch with me somehow or other, we'll figure it out. I'll need your address so I can post you the book. I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, I hope you're all well. If any of you read these books that I've been talking about, I'd love to hear your take on them. And go and nominate for the BookTube SFF Awards. Dawn, get in touch. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye.